Every dollar above 10 million just vanished from every account on Earth. Jeff Bezos woke up this morning with the same net worth as a retired dentist in Tampa.
Somebody's getting rich off this. Wait, no. Literally nobody can. That's the worst rule I've ever heard.
I ran the numbers and we're cooked. The global economy just lost like 93% of its stored value in 1 second.
My landlord doesn't care about that. He's still charging $1,800.
Let's walk through this. A hard wealth cap at $10 million. Not income, total net worth. Every asset, every stock, every hidden Picasso in the Freeport. Everything.
So Elon Musk goes from 809 billion to 10 million. That's like telling a great white shark it's now a goldfish.
A goldfish with PTSD and a rocket company.
He'll be fine. He still has $10 million. I had a buddy celebrate because he found $11 in a coat pocket.
But here's the real question. Where does the excess go? If you cap wealth, trillions of dollars of value just, what, evaporates?
It doesn't evaporate, it redistributes, or it tries to. And then everything breaks, because you just force the fire sale of every luxury asset on the planet simultaneously.
The Bugatti market crashes to zero. You can buy a Chiron for the price of a Camry.
Cool. Still can't afford the insurance.
Okay, but what if that also breaks? Like, who owns Apple now? Tim Cook's share is capped. Every major shareholder is capped. The ownership structure of every Fortune 500 company just shattered like a piñata.
A piñata. That's what you're comparing the global equity market to.
A piñata full of lawsuits and crying billionaires. Yes.
Look, I've seen companies restructure after hostile takeovers. This is a hostile takeover of math, of the concept of owning things.
I'm not impressed. Rich people losing money they never physically touched isn't a tragedy. It's a spreadsheet correction.
Now zoom out, because you know what happens within 48 hours. Every law firm, every offshore bank, every creative accountant on Earth starts building workarounds.
48 hours? Bishop, my guy. I'd have 3 shell companies registered before breakfast. Not for me, obviously, for a friend, several friends. Friends who are also LLCs.
So you'd commit fraud before your morning coffee?
I'd commit innovation. There's a difference.
There is not.
Okay, here's where it gets psychotic. If you cap financial wealth, people just convert to non-financial assets. Art, land, rare earth minerals. Someone's going to try to own a mountain.
That's already happening in New Zealand.
Right, but now everyone does it. Peter Thiel doesn't buy a bunker, he is the bunker. He legally incorporates himself as real estate.
Follow the incentives. If money has a ceiling, power finds a different currency. Favors, access, influence. You don't need to be worth 100 million if you control the guy who controls the water supply.
So we reinvent feudalism. Cool. Very innovative.
And that's when it gets interesting. Because the cap doesn't eliminate power concentration, it just makes it invisible. Instead of seeing who's rich on a Forbes list, now you have no idea who's actually running things.
The shadow economy, the dark net worth. Everybody's technically worth 10 mil, but some people's 10 million can buy a senator, and yours can buy a used Honda.
Let me pitch you something. A consulting firm. We call it Wealth Horizon. Tagline: your net worth stops at 10. Your net life doesn't have to. We help people convert excess value into untraceable lifestyle assets.
That's a crime. You just described a crime with a logo.
It's a brand, Brick. Crimes don't have merch.
They absolutely do. It's called a prison jumpsuit.
Oh my god, the influencers. What happens to the influencers? Mr. Beast can't give away money because he doesn't have money. The entire philanthropy content economy collapses. YouTube becomes just cats again.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It's an observation, Bishop. I don't make judgments, I make projections. And 17 of them end with cats.
Here's what everyone's missing. We've been talking about the rich, but 99.9% of people on Earth are already under 10 million. What changes for them?
Depends where the excess goes. If it gets redistributed equally, every human on Earth gets like $140,000 once.
That's enough to destabilize every currency simultaneously. Hyperinflation in a week. Bread costs $900.
So the plan to help poor people is to make money worthless. Incredible.
No. The real impact is housing. If nobody can be worth more than 10 million, nobody can own a $200 million portfolio of apartment buildings. Ownership fragments. Suddenly, there's inventory on the market.
You think rent goes down because some hedge fund had to sell?
Theoretically.
Theoretically, I should be able to afford a 1-bedroom. Theoretically, trickle-down economics works. Theoretically, glitch sleeps.
I do sleep. I just do it in shifts, like a dolphin.
That's not the flex you think it is.
But there's a version of this that's genuinely interesting. If you remove the aspiration of infinite wealth, what happens to ambition? Does innovation stop?
Of course not. People were inventing things long before billionaires existed. You think the guy who invented the wheel was like, I'm going to IPO this?
Actually, the wheel was probably open source.
So Slick is arguing that a cap might not kill innovation, but would kill the specific kind of innovation designed purely to extract maximum wealth.
I'm arguing both sides because both sides are profitable, or were profitable. Before you capped profit, you monsters.
So what you're saying is, we're screwed. Either the cap works and we get feudalism with extra steps, or it doesn't work and nothing changes.
That's the paradox. The cap solves inequality on paper. But paper isn't where power lives.
I just want to point out that $10 million is still an insane amount of money. Like, my net worth is mostly energy drinks and anxiety. 10 million is more money than I can conceptualize.
That's the first smart thing you've said all day.
Thank you. Wait, all day? What time is it? Have I been here all day?
Glitch, it's been 40 minutes.
Time is a flat circle, Brick.
$10 million. Enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life, in almost any city on Earth. Enough to never worry about a medical bill, a mortgage, or a grocery run. And yet, for some people, it would feel like a cage. That tells you everything you need to know. Not about economics, not about policy, about the human relationship with enough. We don't have one. We never have. The cap wouldn't change human nature. It would just force human nature to get more creative about hiding itself. The rich would find new shadows, the powerful would find new currencies, and the rest of us would be told the system was finally fair, while the same hands pulled the same strings from behind a different curtain. You can cap the number, you can't cap the hunger. And that's the game no one wants to admit they're playing. Checkmate.